The Nigerian Senate has called on the federal government of Nigeria to apprehend the perpetrators of the horrific killing of soldiers in Okuoma community of Delta State. The upper legislative also called on the government for recruitment of more policemen so as to disengage the Nigerian military from being part of the internal security arrangement. The report.
The calls were part of the resolutions reached at Tuesday's plenary after a brief debate on two motions by Senators Abdulaziz Yaradua and Ede Dafinone. Last Thursday, some senior army officers and their men who were on a peace mission to the troubled area were reportedly ambushed and killed by armed youths.
They were not only killed, but their bodies were also decapitated. The unfortunate incident occurred when the troops responded to a distress call after the communal crisis between the Okuoma and Okoloba communities, both in Delta State.
Lawmakers further described the act as provocative, saying the incident portends danger for innocent indigents of communities in the region.
What happened in Delta was not an accident. It was a designed and well-orchestrated effort to kill our military men.
It's not every day, even in a war situation, it's not every day a country suffers this kind of loss, even in a war, even during wartime.
Mr. President, Nigeria, this is crunch time for our country. And we must always ensure that whatever thing that we're doing, we must be tolerant with one another.
In his remarks, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, advised the military to carry out a thorough investigation in order to ascertain that those that murdered the soldiers in Delta State are actually Nigerians. Senator Akpabio expressed doubt if the culprits are from the Niger Delta.
We are not at war. Even in a period of war, to lose such number of personnel, no community will go to the extent of doing this kind of thing. I don't think they are from Niger Delta. So I think the first point should be that we should first establish the culprits who committed this crime.
The Senate, however, rejected a prayer to observe a minute silence or to commiserate with the families of the innocent civilians killed in the process, saying that their numbers are still unknown.
Well, in a related development, the House of Representatives has called on the Nigerian government and the military to consider pardoning the communities of Okuoma and Okoloba in Ughelli South and Bomadi local government areas of Delta State over the killing of Nigerian soldiers in the area. The House also called on the National Emergency Management Agency to provide relief materials to both communities involved to promote peace among communities. On Thursday, March 14, 17 military personnel were killed while on a peacekeeping mission to quell a communal clash in Delta State. Here's the report.
The resolution followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance raised during plenary by Representative Babajimi Benson, the member representing Ikorodu Federal Constituency, Lagos State. Raising the motion, Benson explained that the military personnel were only responding to a distress call in their service to their fatherland when they were ambushed and killed on Thursday.
The House is distressed that the perpetrators of the heinous act did not only stop at killing this military personnel, but also sacrilegiously debased their remains by ripping out their hearts and other body parts.
The House, however, adopted an amendment of the earlier resolution following a motion raised by Representative Francis Wave. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, who presided over the plenary, later called for a voice vote that went in favor of the House majority.
It's something that should not be tolerated anywhere, and the perpetrators must be brought to book. I agree with the prayers that the sad occurrence to be investigated, except that I request that the House Committee on Defense lead that process.
This motion as amended should say aye.
Those against you say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committees on Defense, Army, Police, and National Intelligence for further legislative action.
A minute of silence for the deceased military personnel was observed by the House. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has summoned the Minister of Health and Permanent Secretary of the Ministry to appear before it or face sanctions. Chairman, House Committee on HIV and AIDS, Tuberculosis and Malaria Control, Amobi Oga, said the committee's invitation to the ministry is to ascertain an alleged embezzlement of $300 million meant for procurement of anti-malaria for communities.
We all know that malaria is now an epidemic in Nigeria. I can tell us that the government have always want to help the people. But most times, the civil servants are our problem.